Hi everyone, this is Sarah Ackley. I'm here to show you the Dynamic Work Instruction Builder. This is where you want to come if you're really looking to scale your work instruction. So maybe you have hundreds of thousands of different instructions that you want to maintain. You want to use this application. And I'm going to walk you through at a high level how we have approached dynamic work instruction, and hopefully you can use this application to be able to manage and limit the amount of stuff you really need to manage is like really the idea here. So at a high level, what makes a product? And so this is what the dynamic work instructions is. It's important to understand the structure before we dive into how you would configure them. So at the highest level, your company makes a product. Maybe they make multiple products, right? But at the highest level, you have a good, which is a product. So this is the item or good that will be produced as a result of a sequence number of tasks and procedures. So you can see here, right, the product is the outer level, and then inside the product is a routing. And then inside that routing are procedures, and then inside those procedures are tasks. So it's kind of like those blocks that like keep building out. And they all come together to make a product, right? So let's actually jump to tasks. So tasks are these like elements of work to be performed, right? It's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Well, the way that we order those tasks is by this notion of procedures. So the tasks are the individual steps. The procedure tells us, okay, in what order do we do those steps? And what's interesting is like there can be multiple procedures that make a product, but also like there could be one procedure that is used to make multiple products, right? So this application really enables you to scale, to be able to reuse tasks, reuse procedures, reuse a bunch of things as much as possible. And then building on that, your ordering of your procedures is determined by the routing, okay? So at a high level, right, we have our product. The product then goes through a series of tasks, and the way that we know in what order to like do those tasks is by managing them and ordering them through procedures, and then those procedures are ordered through a routing. So if we dive into things, let me show you a bit of what this means. So this is our dynamic work instruction builder. So this is where you would come to manage everything. You would run this application in the player. You wouldn't need to do anything in the editor. Just use this to configure your backend tables that contain this information. So what you would need to do is set up your product. So I'm going to show you this. There's a tutorial video that will give you step-by-step of how to set this up for your particular department. This is just going to be an overview of how the builder works, so you can determine, if this would work for you or not. So in here I have all my products, right? So like say I own a bakery and I have a handful of different cakes that I make, right? So you might have like a vanilla layered cake, you may have chocolate, you may have different variations of this, and there's probably some tasks within every single cake that you make, right, that are the same. And so you don't want to have to make a new step or you want to be able to reuse that task across all these different products. So this is where you would use this application. So let's take, for instance, I have this vanilla layered cake, right? We then come here and we can see the vanilla layered cake has an assigned routing, right? So if I go back, I should have made a back button. But if I go back, I can see that I have a product and my product is linked to a routing, and the routing is going to tell me the ordering of my procedures, right? So let's go back here to my vanilla layered cake. If I click on this routing, I can see that this routing consists of these procedures, right? So now, and this is the ordering of those procedures, right? So I can use these tools to move it down, maybe delete it, but right, the ordering is I bake my cake and then I do my icing. And so this is where, maybe this portion of baking the cake is used for your vanilla layered cake, it's used for your standard vanilla cake, right? So you can easily reuse this procedure across a different product. without needing to without having to redo anything really. But maybe the icing on this layered cake, right, is different than the other cakes. And actually, right, for a layered cake, you probably want to bake, well, you wouldn't bake the cake, but maybe you would have like a procedure that's like layering the cake. So you would bake the cake, put some icing on it, and then you would maybe put another portion of the cake, put more icing. So you would have these procedures and you would call them back and forth. So this is where, right, you can add procedures, move them around, reorder them. This is your routing. Now, your procedure builder is looking at each of the individual procedures. So here is bake cake, right? So that was procedure 1 in our routing. So if we look at bake cake then is comprised of a set of tasks, and those tasks are sequenced, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go through cake 1, cake 2, cake 3. We're going to do cake 3 again, which is an important thing to note. And then we're going to do cake 4. And so if I come down here to my task builder, and once again, right, move them up and down, add more tasks. But if we look at our tasks, let's pull up what is cake 1, right? It's like, oh, grease the pan. Cake 2, mix the ingredients. Cake 3, pour them into the pan, right? And so you can see pour into the pan is done twice, right? Because it's a layered cake. So this is where, when we then go and run the actual application, all of this, because we configured it in a way where, we have our tasks, our procedures, our routing, and our product, we can easily pull up the cake and run through it. So right here, if I pull up, so let me just pull up what the routing ID is here for the particular product. So if I go ahead and load this instruction, right, and we can easily change this to pull from the product level. But if I then choose my routing, I can see, okay, I have 2 procedures and I have, right, 5 tasks. So I can come in here and it's going to pull up each of my individual tasks. There's that step repeated and we're done. And then I can load my second procedure and I can navigate those different tasks. So this, in combination with this viewer module, makes it super easy to be able to pull up, pull up different products, pull up and simulate, what those steps are, and then use this to really go from one to the other and complete your work instruction. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us, support@tulip.co, find us in the community. We'd love to hear your feedback, see what you think. Once again, check out the tutorial video if you are looking to implement this. It will take you step by step through once you download the application, how you run the application and how you configure it will take you every step of the way. So thanks, and we look forward to hearing from you.